Today, Thiên invites you to explore deeply the nature of ignorance in the 12 links of dependent origination from Mahayana Buddhist scriptures. Dear friends on the path, we often hear in the Buddha's teachings that all suffering, all birth and death, begin from one root cause, and that is ignorance. But what is ignorance? Why is it the very first link in the chain of dependent origination? And more importantly, how can we, as lay Buddhists, recognize it, transform it, and practice in daily life to transcend it? Today, let us gently reflect together to understand more clearly the nature of ignorance and how we can apply this insight in our everyday lives. What is ignorance? Ignorance, in Buddhist terminology, is not just a lack of information, but a deep unawareness of the true nature of things. It is not knowing the Four Noble Truths, not seeing clearly the impermanent, unsatisfactory, and selfless nature of all conditioned phenomena. Ignorance is like a fog over the mind, blinding us from seeing what is real. And because of this blindness, we act from misunderstanding, create karma, and get caught in the wheel of birth and death. In the 12 links of dependent origination, ignorance, avidya, is the very first link. It gives rise to volitional formations, sankhara, which leads to consciousness, vaya. And from there the entire cycle of samsara unfolds. A simple example. Imagine someone walking in a pitch-dark room. They stumble, bump into things, hurt themselves, but they don't know why. They blame the room or the furniture. But the truth is, the problem is the darkness. That darkness is ignorance. And when light is brought in, we suddenly see clearly where to walk, what to avoid, what to let go of. Similarly, when ignorance is present, we may think certain things will bring happiness, and we chase them. But instead we find dissatisfaction, pain, or regret, because we didn't see clearly. Ignorance in the 12 links. Let us look again at the 12 links. Ignorance, avidya. Volitional formations, sankhara. Consciousness, vaya. Name and form, namarupa. 6 sense bases, ayatana. Contact, phassa. Feeling, vedana. Craving, ta. Clinging, upadana. Becoming, bhava. Birth, jati. Old age and death, jarmara. Ignorance sets this whole chain in motion. And unless we uproot it, the cycle continues endlessly. But if we bring insight and wisdom into ignorance, we interrupt the chain, and suffering begins to dissolve. How Mahayana explains ignorance. In Mahayana texts, especially the Prajnaparamita teachings, the Buddha teaches that ignorance is not something real in itself, but a false view that arises when we do not see the emptiness, sunyata, of all phenomena. In the Heart Sutra, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva sees that the 5 aggregates are empty, and thus overcomes all suffering. That insight into emptiness is what cuts through ignorance. When we see clearly that everything arises through conditions, and lacks any inherent self, then the craving, attachment, fear, and confusion that come from ignorance naturally fade. How lay Buddhists can practice to overcome ignorance. Even if we live a busy life in the world, we can still practice deeply and uproot ignorance. Here are some practical methods for lay practitioners. 1. Study the Dharma. Start by learning the Buddha's teachings. Read the sutras. Listen to talks. Reflect on the Four Noble Truths. The nature of impermanence, suffering, and not self. Even spending 15 minutes a day listening to the Dharma can gradually awaken insight. 2. Contemplate impermanence and interdependence. Reflect on how everything is changing. How nothing exists independently. How suffering arises from clinging. And how joy arises from release. Such contemplation shines light on what we normally overlook. 3. Practice ethical conduct and mindfulness. Keeping the 5 precepts helps us avoid creating unwholesome karma. And mindfulness helps us recognize ignorance when it appears in the form of greed, anger, or delusion. With mindfulness, we catch ourselves before we act blindly. 4. Observe the mind. Watch your own thoughts and emotions. See how they arise and pass. How they are influenced by conditions. When you clearly see anger as anger, or craving as craving, it loses its power. To observe is to begin understanding. And understanding is the end of ignorance. 5. Take refuge in the triple gem. Rely on the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha as your inner light. Go to the temple. Make offerings. Listen to teachings. Create supportive conditions for your practice. The triple gem is like a lamp in the darkness. Practical applications in daily life. When someone makes you angry, pause. Breathe. And reflect. This emotion is impermanent. It arises from causes and conditions. I don't have to follow it. When you suffer disappointment, instead of blaming, ask, what was I clinging to? Was I seeing clearly? When success comes, instead of getting arrogant, reflect. This too is the result of many conditions, not solely my doing. When you feel lost, return to the breath, to the present moment, and know, even confusion is not permanent. When ignorance fades, what remains? When ignorance is uprooted, karma no longer binds us. Rebirth no longer arises. And the wheel of becoming comes to a stop. Even as lay practitioners, we can taste peace, freedom, and joy right in this very life. If we choose to live with awareness and understanding, every moment of mindfulness, every insight into impermanence, is a moment where ignorance loses its grip. In conclusion, dear friends, ignorance is like darkness. But darkness has no real substance. It disappears the moment light appears. That light is wisdom. That light is mindfulness. That light is the Dharma. You don't need to chase away the dark. Just light a lamp. Today, Thiên Tai is very grateful to have had this time to reflect on ignorance and the 12 links of dependent origination. I hope this talk helps bring more clarity, peace, and strength to your journey on the path. Thank you for joining today's Dharma talk with Thiên Tai. Namo Amitabha Buddha. May the merit of this sharing be dedicated to all beings everywhere. May we and all sentient beings fully realize Buddhahood together. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel to revisit the Buddha's beautiful short teachings. Thank you for listening to the Dharma.